The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
Rich Martin here for the Eagles Sports Network with Mike Spooner, the cross-country coach here at Carson-Newman, and Coach Spooner. Well, it's been a while between times, only 21 days this time for races, not the 664, but your team gets ready for the Queen City Invite in Charlotte, North Carolina. Of course, you'll see plenty of times this year, but first of all, what have you seen from your team in the 21 days between the Tuscany Open and this race on Friday in Charlotte?
It really has been a great time spent for the 21 days for our team. I mean, obviously, getting back into, okay, we've ran a race, what do we do next type of a mode, but also, having time on our side. As I've mentioned previously before, the summer was not, under past management, was not exactly what I think they wanted, what I had hoped as well going into the season. But now we have more time, we keep building, and really these past 3 weeks, just in terms of pure workouts, getting our mindsets ready for this is how we used to run races to this is how we're going to be running races in terms of the aggressiveness and the style of going out there. I've been very proud of the transition that we've made over the past few weeks, and we're in a little bit of the the great part of the season where, everything seems like a challenge because our bodies are getting stronger and growing. But in terms of mental and the focus and really getting to work and getting it done, I've been very happy and very impressed.
We'll look briefly back at the Tuscany Open, of course, first race in a long time, and some good things to see. 2 5K races for the men and the women. Rachel Strayer had a strong showing, finishing third. Raymond Brookman's finished second in his first ever collegiate race. Also had some top 10 finishes on the women's side, and Kirby Logan with a top 15 finish. Overall, what was your takeaway from the Tuscany Open?
Mainly, it was to use it as an opportunity to teach them this is how we need to run races going forward. It certainly wasn't a course that we were training for or equipped for. Obviously, we were playing a little bit catch up in terms of our overall training and base training, because at that point I only had, I believe, about a month or with them to really get a lot of catch up and work done. But I think the biggest thing from that was to take the mental notes of what do I do with each athlete to get them ready for the races that really matter a lot to me. Tuscany was a great opportunity for us to race, get to see some of the teams in the conference, but more importantly, each athlete take away, hey, what can we do better? What can I do better? And all of our meetings that preceded that next week focused on that. What can I do as the individual to not only get better, but get the team better as well?
Like you said, this course is different than Tuscany. It's gravelly. It's pretty straight, pretty flat, kind of similar to Mossy Creek course out what you practice on every day. And this is a course, again, you're going to see 3 times in the regular season, 2 times before the conference championships. Do you feel like working at Mossy Creek has given you sort of a little bit of an advantage, and that will give you an advantage in later races at this same course when the challenges increase?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a huge advantage, and from day one, I knew what mattered most. Obviously, I wanted to get them prepared to be competitive, at Tuscany. But for me, I knew it was really about conference and more importantly about McAlpine, the course we're on. And we're very blessed that, one, we have such great natural environment around us to go to other locations to work out. And plus, I don't like just being one site over and over and over again. So we've gone to places like Norris Dam that has even closer compact gravel similar to McAlpine than even our own Mossy Creek. But it is great that they mentally and visually feel it on their body, knowing that this is what we're going to get prepared for and get used to. And so for me, being there so much and having all this around us is helpful because, one, running is such a mental portion of it. And knowing that McAlpine is a tricky course to run allowed me to start implementing these things early into their minds. At the end of the day, it's up to them to make that jump and that leap to apply those things. But it does allow me to really hammer home saying, hey, listen, guys, this is exactly what it's going to be like. This is very similar to what it's going to be like. This is how the race is going to go. Especially, of course, in McAlpine that I've had history with myself as a runner. And been able to do well there as well.
Your men's team is going to be running an 8K for the first time in almost 2 years. The women will still stay with the 5K. Has there been any kind of difference in preparation for the men jumping from that 5K back to an 8K?
We bumped up our mileage a little bit, which was part of the natural progression, just because, again, we're playing catch-up from the past summer on things. And so we've been able to have that as kind of, in consequence, part of getting them, ready for a longer race. The big thing, though, for me with both squads, and then the guy squad and the 8K, is the main thing that we talked about is like, listen, the way that we are talking about how we race a 5K is not going to change our mental attitude to how we race an 8K. Nothing changes, so we're going to, be aggressive and want to be up front, which, obviously for those like Ray, benefited a lot. Ray went out there first race ever. He had every excuse in the book to not do that, but with working with him and convincing him, I believe you're good enough to run races like this. It paid out great for him, and I think that even he's going to get better every race he runs because he's going to get used to racing cross country. And the other boys as well, they're going to continue to build confidence in themselves and to strive. But 5K, 8K, my main thing has been, listen, we're going to race aggressive. We're going to race like we belong, not hang on, but belong. And that's going to hopefully coincide on this course to good results. Then my feeling is once we learn, not just this cross-country season, but these earlier races, how to be strong, aggressive runners, not reserved and held back, that's going to pay off to any other course we run, regardless of how it's designed.
Queen City Invite, of course. Queens has a big cross-country tradition. There's going to be a lot of South Atlantic Conference teams there running as well. There's going to be some Division I teams running as well. It's a big-time field and a big chance to show what the Eagles have. Does that add some extra motivation, you think, to your athletes to run against some Division I competition?
It does, but I think that I've kind of gotten everybody into the mindset of if you're not wearing orange and blue, you're against me, and it doesn't matter where you're from. And so I've really done a good job of kind of just erasing the notion of D1, D2, D3, NIA. It doesn't matter. If they're not orange and blue, they're against you. And, the other way I want them to look at it, too, is that, listen, there's great D2 schools, there's great D1 schools, great D3 schools. So it all blends in together anyhow, and so big part of that is kind of to, erase that narrative of, oh, so-and-so is from somewhere, what do I do? Well, you go out there and you race them, and that's, kind of how I've been really pushing that mantra. And so they're excited that there's a lot of teams, let alone where they're from, and so that's, obviously the conference part adds a lot into that as well. But I would say that they're more excited for the fact that, cool, there's teams here, there's more than, 4 or 5 that we had, a couple weeks ago. But they're really excited for the fact this is a big race, big field on a, a historic course, and I think that's going to be the big feeder for us.
Coach Spinner, thank you for your time and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Eagles are set to race at the Queen City Invite beginning on Friday at 4:15 with the women's 5K.